Hello BookTube, and welcome back to your Daily Penguin. This is our tour through my Penguin classics, but they are in upheaval. My whole world is in upheaval, and the year is about to become upheavaled. so I think it's safe to say, just by any practical measure, that the Daily Penguin is now winding down. But I wanted to get in a few more, especially for Nonfiction November, where I'm doing my Penguins to coincide with Olive's great event on BookTube, where we celebrate the infinite variety of nonfiction. So I thought I would choose today kind of a weird book. I'm very glad that Penguin reprinted it, and they're not the only ones who've reprinted it, so it's easy to find. It's this. It's Memoirs from Beyond the Tomb by the Vicomte de Chateaubriand, and it is his philosophical memoirs. He started these histrionic things. He grew up in a castle and spent his life bouncing around the corners of his world, meeting people, knowing people, having all sorts of ruinous experiences, always short for money, part of the military, part of the government, saw a lot, did a lot, and wrote a lot the whole time. And he started these memoirs in the early years of the 1800s with highfalutin ideas about their literary significance and also their timing, the timing of their publication. Promised that they wouldn't see the light of day while he was still alive. And then he dropped the idea. He dropped a lot of ideas in his life and came back to it more than a decade later, specifically to make money. Like so many of the things that we have seen on the Daily Penguin, this book was churned out on deadline for cold hard cash. But it is delightful. Absolutely delightful. Penguin reissued or did a nice printing of this. This is edited by and introduced by Robert Baldick. And if I remember correctly, the New York Review of Books also came out with an edition of this, with a different introduction, probably a different translation as well. And as you can see, my habit of putting book reviews and book notices inside the books they're about, this got some notice. People were pleased to be introduced or reintroduced to Chateaubriand. And that's great, because when I think about, as I have been lately, when I think about writing a memoir, my own memoir, I look to certain models, and one of the ones I look to is this, because this isn't boring, and so many memoirs are. it's not necessarily scrupulously truthful, but we don't go to memoirs for that, I would believe. It's not even scrupulously accountable to the truth, but it is incredibly readable. Chateaubriand spent a huge amount of his adult life looking over his shoulder, metaphorically and sometimes literally, for the latest news of Napoleon Bonaparte. And that runs throughout. That is a theme, if you want to call it that. That's a theme that runs throughout this book. Napoleon is ever present in these pages. But so are a lot of other people who are lost to history other than Chateaubriand capturing them perfectly in an epigram or whatever. So, and he never forgets that this is a narrative, that this is a story. And I would hope that if I wrote my own memoirs, I wouldn't forget that either. So this is one of the things I look to. This and Anthony Burgess, of course, Bill Wilson and Little God, and also Palimpsest by Gore Vidal, and a few others. So your Penguin classic for today, one of the few remaining, is we've got Thanksgiving, and we've got the end of the month, and I wouldn't foresee that there are more than 10 of these left before we're done with a whole year of Penguins. Wasn't that fun? But your Penguin classic for today is a strong recommend, no matter how fusty this might look. That is actually our author. That is not one of those approximate period pieces. That's a painting of our author, and he was just as pretentious and navel-gazing as that picture gives you to believe. But nevertheless, his book is enchanting. So your Penguin for today is a recommend. So I'm going to wrap this up for now, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.